All right. All right, fam. I think the reason why we decided to do this very particular broadcast is based on a post that I put on the social media, and I get a lot of inboxes that are coming into my phone, and it's quite interesting in the sense that this whole ideology of success in ministry for me, maybe because I play in that very particular space and I've seen how at the earlier stage for me when I was in that space, there is a lot of voices that were coming out to the point that we young ministers will begin to measure success in ministry based on some certain criteria as we're seeing with the so-called father of faith, and or probably from mentors and people who are speaking well of ministries. But at the same time also, I think we also need to be very careful. But very careful in the sense that when we want to define this thing called success in ministry, we need to be able to first and foremost look at the metrics that determine what success in ministry is all about. Because until we understand the metrics that determine what success in ministry is all about, we will literally carry success or ministry success and blanket it to everyone who is called. And that then becomes a serious problem, because each and every ministers in the gospel will literally have different assignments, even despite the fact that we are all in the body of Christ. And like I said in the post that literally many of you are inboxing me and stuff, is this: success in ministry literally needs to be defined by the parameters at which God has given to that person. Funny enough, I think I remember on the example I put there was a lady that we were talking, and she was saying to me about the whole concept of success in ministry, that if there's some certain things that God has exposed to her, if many men of God are doing it, then it should have been it would make the ministers of the gospel become, for lack of better words, successful. And I remember I was saying to her, I said, see, what God gave you was for you, is that not so? Did you obey it in full? She said yes. Are you satisfied in doing that? She said yes. I said, now let me ask you the question: are you the biggest in your industry in doing that? The answer was no. I said, okay, now if the answer is no to you, now let's come back to ministry. Every man of God literally has what God has given them to do, and in doing that same thing is literally what makes them successful. Success should not be determined by the big churches, the flamboyant cars, the houses, and all of those very particular things. Hear me, they are all good. They are all good. And I'm going to be giving an example, especially with Joshua and Caleb. And for those of you who are very familiar with the scripture, I want to encourage you, please, to go and read back Joshua and Caleb again. Joshua and Caleb, for instance, they were all, for lack of better, they were all boys under Moses. And all of a sudden, Moses passed on, and now it's now in the hand of Joshua. Where God said to him, meditate day and day and night, and all of those very particular things. Joshua then become a priest. But remember that Joshua and Caleb, they were both guys. They were guys who literally were running things for Moses. These were guys, like part of the things which I put here, number one, is the fact that they were loyal to Moses. These are loyal guys of Moses. They both went through the wilderness experiences, number two. And number three also, they all both experienced the same pain, the same fear, and everything that's they need to experience with Moses. But this is a dichotomy here where we need to measure this thing called success. Joshua, who was a fighter, he was a warrior. Remember, he was part of the guys who went to spy the land. So which means he has an understanding of what it means to fight. But all of a sudden we get to find out that Joshua ended up becoming a priest. He became a priest. Now imagine Joshua, who understands how to fight, but his assignment has changed to the point that he's now a priest. Caleb, now this is the interesting thing about this report, because we need to look at this and literally begin. Let's remove this burden on success in ministry based on material things and not based on the assignment that God has given you. I was saying to somebody who were chatting, I said, see, I will prefer for me to be effective than for me to be popular. Because we have a lot of popular men of God and co, where when you check about the effectiveness of their ministry and how that is changing the value system around us, shaping cultures, it's almost close to zero. Now we see with Caleb who literally had to receive or probably had to make peace that, oh my guy now is now a pastor. And I think if I'm not mistaken, in Joshua chapter 14 and stuff, Caleb was now 85. I'm hoping that Joshua was at the same age also. He needed to go fight a particular land, but he had to come to himself. It was okay, this guy is a priest. Let me go and meet Joshua, and get, for lack of better word, an approval from Joshua because he's now a priest. Let's even ask ourselves, and this is me looking at you, how many of you can be that very humble for you to know that dynamics have changed with your friends? Now they are sitting at a priestly side and you are still the fighter. Can you humble yourself that this your friend who you guys used to be friends, you go to clubs, you do everything, but things have changed. And now you have to find a way of humbling yourself to be able to receive from this your friend. How many of us? Now, guess what? Joshua literally was fulfilling his ministry. Caleb was also fulfilling his ministry by still being a fighter. This one is now saying, when I was thinking about this, one of the things that came to my head that was very funny. You know how the church system is, where you have to sit down, depending on how God has called you, you have to sit down, wait for tithe and offering in quotes, pray and expect people to come and give you seed. Do you understand the mental shift that Joshua had to take to understand that he cannot go and fight again? He can't go into the property business. He can't do what you call the fintech. He can't be in media. And yet he just have to sit and depend on God. And yet God still finds Joshua that he is fulfilling his ministry, or he is successful in his ministry. The guy knows too well that I know what we do, but I cannot do it. Because why? The criteria for his success in ministry is totally different from what Caleb's criteria is. And so with this being said, see family, let's try as much as possible to reduce this burden of success in ministry. This is how I define success in ministry. Success in ministry is, number one, the assignment God has given you. Number two, the impact of the assignment that God has given you. And number three, the culture you are shaping with that assignment God has given you. If you cannot measure up in these three, you're literally failing. It's not by Bugatti Veyron and by the house in Stain City, which is in South Africa, or Maitama in Abuja, or probably you have Phantom or Rolls Royce and all of those things that carries you. What culture are you shaping? The people around your place, how impactful are they? Are we seeing you developing leaders? Or literally you are developing followers who you know that, like I think there is was a popular thing on social media, a particular man of God who literally now was asking people to touch his hair for 10,000 rand so that he can be able. Now, do you say that is success in ministry? Because if that's what you're calling success in ministry, I don't know. But these are the few stuff I just want to bring on the table here. Let's not measure up success by external factors. Let's measure success in ministry by the impact that ministry or that individual is literally putting on the table. Because if that is not in view, the burden that is on the younger pastors like our kind, for lack of a better word, is the fact that we want to cut corners. Somebody was saying to me, and I was speaking to a particular man of God outside of Nigeria, and was saying, and he says, man, doing ministry in Nigeria now is very expensive. And I was thinking, I was like, okay, why do you say so? And the reason why he was saying that is because the aesthetics of ministry in Nigeria has changed. Literally, it's going to be difficult for you to do where 2 or 3 are gathered and clapping hand. Currently now in the current Nigeria ecosystem of things, you will struggle. You will struggle. But guess what? It is because we have so much magnified success in ministry as having your church literally in Maitama or Gariki, or probably nobody wants to go to the inside of the village there where all you are doing is to develop leaders, imprinting Christ in the people. We are not. And I said to him, when he finished, I said, see, you are the one that is measuring success in ministry based on that. Or if you want to start ministry based on having all these aesthetics and stuff, if you have them from the beginning, is that okay? Yes, it's fine. But if you don't have it from the beginning, what then are you going to do? Are you going to say, okay, I'm not doing it because I'm afraid? And now let's bring it now down to business. There are many of you literally who are in different sect. When I mean different sector in business. But hear me. Your success in your business that you're currently doing is how impactful that business is meeting, even though it's one person. Now, let's even do a bit of a maths. Let's say God called you. This is not both business and ministry talk. This is God called you for you to impact 500 people. And God called this next person for them to impact 10,000 people. Now, you who is impacting 500 people, you're 500 people well-to-do and all of that. Now, this person here is his own assignment is 10,000 people, but literally he's only able to impact and to change the life of 200 people. Who is more successful in these two? The one who assignment was 500, everybody fulfilled, or the one who assignment is 10,000, but only 200 in his 100,000 is literally being impactful? Who is more successful? If you are the lecturer to mark, are you going to mark based on the crowd in this person's church or in this person's business, or you're going to mark based on the assignment that you have given? to this person to do. I say this because I want us, and especially to the young pastors, please, do not put burden on yourself because you literally want to be successful in ministry. It's a scam. Because I bet you the more you put yourself in that very particular bandwagon, you are going to compromise. You will it's not a prophecy. You will compromise. You will compromise. Let your success in ministry, number one, be progressive. Let it be impactful. Let it be measurable based on what God has said to you. And finally, let your success in ministry give you peace. If you can't find peace doing that, I something know you're looking for trouble. With that being said, I remain your host, the Afropolitan Apostle Darlington Steve. I want to encourage you for you to follow us on all our social media platforms, which is known as the Afropolitan Apostle and also the AfriOne Show. Because somehow, I think I might be talking about these things when I see them, just to be able to answer. But do me a favor, please, every one of you. Take time, go and study the book of Joshua. Study the book of Joshua again and understand what success in ministry is all about. Peace.